There are no
Appreciate the
details.
clarity on
The
that.
details are $600 billion to invest in anything I want. Anything.
Okay.
I can do anything I want with it.
Donald Trump was just on CNBC running his mouth about his trade deal and the greatest things that he's doing for the economy, even though just about every metric, things are softening, things are weakening. Inflation is slowly rising. Unemployment is ticking up. Jobs numbers were worse than expected. Inflation, all of it, right? So Donald Trump is talking about some of the details of this EU trade deal, this political agreement, not legally binding at all. And if you don't believe that, if you're out there a troll in the comments and what do you know? Well, I've got the memo. I've got the little one-sheeter that's a two-sheeter. The European Commission, the EU U.S. trade deal explained. This is from the European Union. We've got the details. And Donald Trump is out there blathering on like the moron that he is, like the uninformed rube that he is, making claims that are just not true, leading us to believe that he's some kind of a monarch, of a king, that there's a slush fund being created, he asserts. A slush fund to invest in the United States, with which he will be able to invest any way he sees fit. He says the details are $600 billion. That's $600,000 million to invest in anything I want, he says. Anything. I can do anything I want with it. Money from the European Union. All of this is untrue. And we're going to get to that. But listen to Donald Trump ramble. The hosts are trying to get details from him. They're trying to understand the nonsense that he's spewing, trying to pin him down on facts, trying to get information from him. And it's just not possible. He's in his bathrobe in the White House, legs akimbo, mushroom popping out. Who knows what's going on in there? He hasn't yet gone to the bathroom to apply his thick coat of Tammy Faye Baker makeup. He hasn't quaffed his dog piss mop yet. But he's on CNBC letting them know about his slush fund that he controls. Watch this.
Mr. President, what kind of teeth, though, are in those investments? What kind of teeth are in those investments, meaning that would force the EU to make those investments? If they don't make those investments, what happens on the other side?
Well, then they pay tariffs of 35%. No, they brought down their tariffs. So they paid $600 billion, and because of that, I reduced their tariffs from 30% down to 15%. And a couple of countries came, how come EU is paying less than us? And I said, well, because they gave me $600 billion. And that's a gift. That's not like, a loan, by the way. That's not a loan that, 3 years comes up, we have to pay it back. There's nothing to pay back. They gave us $600 billion that we can invest in anything we want.
The deal that you
and nobody knows it, Becky. Nobody knows it because, they don't know.
No, we have been trying to figure out the details on that, Mr. President, so
well, there are no
the
details.
Clarity on
the
that.
details are $600 billion to invest in anything I want. Anything.
Okay.
I can do anything I want with it. And the purpose was they've been ripping us for so many years that it's time that they pay up. And they have to pay up. We couldn't afford to have the deficits. Look, I did something with Switzerland the other day. I spoke to their prime minister. The woman was nice, but she didn't want to listen. And they paid essentially no tariffs. And I said, we have a $41 billion deficit with you, madam. I didn't know her. I said, we have a $41 billion deficit. And you want to pay 1% tariffs. You wanted 1%. I said, you're not going to pay 1%. We lose, because I view deficit as loss. You have some people, by the way, I think
pharmaceuticals are a big issue with Switzerland. I think.
Well, I'll go into pharmaceuticals. Yeah. They make a fortune with pharmaceuticals, and they make our pharmaceuticals in China and Ireland and everything else. And within the next week or so, we're going to be announcing tariffs on specifically. This is a separate class than the 15% tariffs on sort of everything. These are excluded classes, I call them. I like to call them excluded, like steel, aluminum, etc.
Right, the 232.
We're going to be announcing on semiconductors and chips, which is a separate category, because we want them made in the United States. And by the way, they're being made in the United States.
Infamous words from a credibly accused sexual assaulter of women. The woman was nice, but she didn't want to listen. Apparently she said no, and Donald Trump didn't want to hear no. All kinds of stuff. A lot of little nuggets in there, little Easter eggs in there. They gave me $600 billion. There are no details, he says. There are no details. Well, the details are. Well, I thought there was no details, Donald Trump. The details are $600 billion to invest in anything Donald Trump says, I want. Anything. I can do anything I want with it. That is not what is in the document that outlines the EU-US trade deal. Here is what this says. Promoting and facilitating mutual investments on both sides of the Atlantic, European Union companies, and here's the rub here. This is they've given him, he said, they gave me $600 billion. This is what this is referencing. This is the truth. This is the reality of the money that they gave Donald Trump. It's a gift, he says. It's a gift. They gave me $600 billion to do anything I want with. This is it. European Union companies have expressed interest in investing at least $600 billion in various sectors in the United States by 2029, further boosting the already significant 2.4 trillion euros in existing investment. So they're interested. This is akin to what took place during Donald Trump's first term with SoftBank in Wisconsin, where an entire town stole land using eminent domain from residents, from Americans, for the promised all this hundreds of billions of dollars of investment that just went away. Because they wanted to curry favor with the dear leader. So they made all of these promises, wrecked the lives and the livelihoods and the property ownership, the generational wealth of families. And then SoftBank went away. It's the same thing here. That they've expressed interest in investing in the United States. Nowhere in here does it say Donald Trump can do anything he wants with the $600,000 million. It continues, the political agreement reached between President von der Leyen and President Trump serves the European Union's core economic interest in stable and predictable trade and investment relations between the EU and the US. That's a jab. It's, look, we got to have something predictable here. We've got to have stable relationships here. Otherwise, it's, what are we doing? And with Donald Trump, you don't get stability. You don't get predictability. The only thing that's predictable is that shit's going to be haywire and unpredictable. It continues, the political agreement of 27 July 2025 is not legally binding. And I think that is where we will leave it. It's not legally binding. This is just a political agreement between parties. That these businesses in the European Union are expressing interest. Yeah, we're interested in, doing further investments with companies in the United States, with projects in the United States. No one gave Donald Trump anything. So here's the question, and I will pose this to the audience. Does Donald Trump actually believe this is like a binding legal argument and that they gave him a $600 billion slush fund to do with as he pleases? Does he believe that? Or does he know it's untrue and he's trying to score points with MAGA to further distract from the fact that he was best friends with a prolific child predator for nearly 2 decades? The Distractapalooza marches on with Donald Trump. Anyway, I will throw those questions to you. You can comment about it below in the comments. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as my voice cracks, daily@dollemore.com. You can email me, daily@dollemore.com. Anyway, I love and appreciate you very much. If you want to help support this work, if you appreciate what I do, the cut of my jib, the way I do the thing that I do, and you want to help support and produce these videos, you can click the join button below on YouTube, become a channel member there. There's some way to do it on Facebook. I still can't figure it out, but there's also patreon.com/I doubt it podcast. I love and appreciate you very much. I'll see you next time. Until then, be genuine and take care of one another.